Welcome to Civil Engineering for Learners. By Dr.K.Aravinthan. Waste Management. Hazardous waste identification. Hazardous wastes pose present or potential risks to human health or living organisms, since they are non-degradable or persistent. They can be biologically magnified. They are highly toxic and even lethal at very low concentrations. The criteria used to determine the nature of the hazard include toxicity, phytotoxicity, genetic activity, and bioconcentration. The threat to public health and the environment of a given hazardous waste is dependent on the quantity and characteristics of the waste involved. Identification. By using either or both of the following criteria, we can identify whether or not a waste is hazardous. I. The list provided by government agencies declaring that substance is hazardous. 2. Characteristics such as ignitability, corrosivity, reactivity, and toxicity of the substance. F list. The F list contains hazardous wastes from nonspecific sources, that is, various industrial processes that may have generated the waste. The list consists of solvents commonly used in degreasing, metal treatment baths and sludges, wastewaters from metal plating operations, and dioxin-containing chemicals or their precursors. Examples of solvents that are F-listed hazardous wastes, along with their code numbers, include benzene, F005, carbon tetrachloride, F001, crucilic acid, F004, methyl ethyl ketone, F005, methylene chloride. K-list. The K-list contains hazardous wastes generated by specific industrial processes. Examples of industries which generate K-listed wastes include wood preservation, pigment production, chemical production, petroleum refining, iron and steel production, explosive manufacturing, and pesticide production. P and U lists. The P and U lists contain discarded commercial chemical products, off-specification chemicals, container residues, and residues from the spillage of materials. These two lists include commercial pure grades of the chemical, any technical grades of the chemical that are produced or marketed, and all formulations in which the chemical is the sole active ingredient. An example of a P or U listed hazardous waste is a pesticide, which is not used during its shelf life and requires to be disposed of in bulk. The primary distinction between the two lists is the quantity at which the chemical is regulated. The P list consists of acutely toxic wastes that are regulated when the quantity generated per month, or accumulated at any time, exceeds 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds, while U-listed hazardous wastes are regulated when the quantity generated per month exceeds 25 kilograms, 55 pounds. Examples of businesses that typically generate P or U-listed wastes include pesticide applicators, laboratories, and chemical formulators. Characteristics of hazardous wastes. A waste to be deemed a characteristic hazardous waste, it must cause, or significantly contribute to, increased mortality or an increase in serious irreversible or incapacitating reversible illness, or pose a substantial hazard or threat of a hazard to human health or the environment, when it is improperly treated, stored, transported, disposed of, or otherwise mismanaged. If the wastes generated at a facility are not listed in the F, K, P, or U lists, the final step to determine whether a waste is hazardous is to evaluate it against the following 4 hazardous characteristics. 1 is ignitability, EPA Waste Identification Number D001. A waste is an ignitable hazardous waste if it has a flash point of less than 60 degrees Celsius, readily catches fire and burns so vigorously as to create a hazard, or is an ignitable compressed gas or an oxidizer. A simple method of determining the flash point of waste is to review the material safety data sheet, which can be obtained from the manufacturer or distributor of the material. Naphtha, lacquer thinner, epoxy resins, adhesives, and oil-based paints are all examples of ignitable hazardous wastes. 2 is corrosivity, EPA Waste Identification Number D002. A liquid waste that has a pH of less than or equal to 2 or greater than or equal to 12.5 is considered to be corrosive hazardous waste. Sodium hydroxide, a caustic solution with a high pH, is often used by many industries to clean or degrease metal parts. Hydrochloric acid, a solution with a low pH, is used by many industries to clean metal parts prior to painting. When these caustic or acid solutions are disposed of, the waste is corrosive hazardous waste. 3. Reactivity, EPA waste identification number D003. A material is considered a reactive hazardous waste if it is unstable, reacts violently with water, generates toxic gases when exposed to water or corrosive materials, or if it is capable of detonation or explosion when exposed to heat or a flame. Examples of reactive wastes would be waste gunpowder, sodium metal, or wastes containing cyanides or sulfides. 4. Toxicity, EPA waste identification number D004. To determine if a waste is a toxic hazardous waste, a representative sample of the material must be subjected to a test conducted in a certified laboratory. The toxic characteristic identifies wastes that are likely to leach dangerous concentrations of toxic chemicals into groundwater. Thank you. Happy learning. See you again.